close in New Hampshire primary, and projections say that former President Donald Trump will win the New Hampshire's GOP primary, defeating Nikki Haley. Now, with this win, Trump has further cemented his hold on the Republican Party. The polls puts Trump ahead with almost 53.5% votes, while Nikki Haley stands at around 45%. However, Trump's last remaining rival in the race, Haley, is not yet ready to concede. Delivering remarks from Concord soon after voting, she said that the race is far from over. She has finished third in the Iowa primary.
New Hampshire is first in the nation. It is not the last in the nation. This race is far from over. There are dozens of states left to go. And now we're the last one standing next to Donald Trump. And today we got close to half of the vote. We still have a ways to go, but we keep moving up.
Opinion polls had earlier put Trump as the clear frontrunner after his commanding win in last week's Iowa caucuses. Economy, immigration, fentanyl crisis are some of the top concerns of the voters in the elections this year. And speaking to reporters ahead of voting, Trump had said that it does not matter if Haley stays through Super Tuesday.
And I don't care if she stays in. Let her do whatever she wants. It doesn't matter. I can just say that there's never been a movement like this. Make America great again. In the history of our country.
All right, India correspondent Nick Harper is joining us from New Hampshire in the U.S. Nick, good morning. Now, when we talk of the results, then Trump showed his durable hold on Republican voters in a state that in fact gave him his first major success in the 2016 primary. Help us understand the significance of the results.
Yeah, a hugely significant result this evening, Priti. I mean, this is a state win for Donald Trump that now really cements his position within the Republican Party, in many ways creating a knockout blow against his rival, Nikki Haley. He has done something that no other Republican candidate has done in almost 50 years, winning both Iowa and then New Hampshire a week later, something that hasn't happened since 1976. And it also shows, I think, the significance and the impact that Donald Trump has on the Republican Party. Let's just bear in mind that the Associated Press called the result for Donald Trump within moments of the polls closing at 8 p.m. local time here this evening. Voting had only just finished, and many of the votes had nowhere near been tallied. We're still getting those results coming in as I speak at the moment, and yet the projection was that Donald Trump would win and win soundly. That's a huge disappointment for Nikki Haley, who has poured a lot of time, money, resources into New Hampshire, spending many weeks campaigning here, holding many rallies, really feeling that this was her big last chance to prove that she was a viable alternative to Donald Trump, and really relying on the moderate, independent voters here in New Hampshire, in the northeast of the country, to try and rally around her. That obviously hasn't happened this evening, but as we heard from that speech tonight, she intends to stay in the race. She even told supporters at that rally that she is just getting started. She intends to stay into Nevada, the next primary, and then South Carolina at the end of next month, and then heading into Super Tuesday at the beginning of March.
All right, yes. She also said that this is the first state and not the last one. Just a while back, we heard her say that. Now, Nick, also tell us what is the road ahead for Nikki? What is the saving grace that she is still holding on to?
Well, she still thinks that she can be that alternative for Donald Trump, for all of the disaffected Republican voters or the independents out there who don't want to support the Democratic President, Joe Biden. She feels that she can be that alternative. She told supporters at that rally tonight that the country, the US, is in a real mess and that it needs to break with the past. So not another Trump presidency, not another Biden presidency, but instead she hopes Nikki Haley presidency. Now, that seems very difficult to try and muster, considering these now two losses in Iowa and New Hampshire. We'll have to wait to see when the final votes are tallied to see exactly how big that loss is. If it is considerable, there will be some very big questions that will need to be asked about how long Nikki Haley stays in the race. Donald Trump has been calling tonight for her to drop out, saying that the Republican Party now needs to unite, to unify around him, and do all that it can in the next 9.5 months until November's election to take on President Biden to ensure that the Republicans re-enter the White House after November's election.
All right, Nick, 2 losses, Iowa and New Hampshire for Nikki means 2 wins for Trump. Now, we know that no Republican candidate has ever won the 2 states and then not ultimately securing the presidential nomination. How strongly is Trump positioned?
Well, he feels it's sewn up. His team have said throughout that they feel by the time we're through with Super Tuesday on March the 5th, it will be very, very clear that Donald Trump is going to be the nominee of this party. The fact that he is now down to just one main challenger, Nikki Haley, at this very early stage in the primary contest, only 2 states out of the 50 across the US have so far said which person they want leading the Republican Party, but already only one challenger, and it being very clear that the voters in these 2 states so far have overwhelmingly backed Donald Trump as opposed to his alternative, Nikki Haley. He is in a very strong position. And in many ways, his campaign say it is now inevitable that he will become the nominee. And that's why they're calling Nikki Haley to drop out so that the party can unify and push back against the Biden presidency.
All right, we'll leave it here. Thank you, Nick, for joining in with those details and analysis. And